What's up, guys? Got something a little different here today. This is the Smith & Wesson Spec Ops SWA24S. You know, we haven't really done a Smith & Wesson before, so we went ahead, you know what, might as well grab one of these guys. They get pretty good reviews on Amazon, so went ahead, yapped one of those, and so far, so good. It's a simple little knife. You know what, one thing I wish, it is assisted, but it's not spring assisted. So what I mean by that is, you're going to get that right there, you pull that trigger, and it's not going to open up all the way. So spring assist would go ahead and open up all the way. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this review. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive on into the review and see what we're dealing with. So far, so good. Give you guys a quick little close-up. You know, it's a smaller pocket knife. This would be a good EDC. The only thing I don't like with my EDCs, though, is the half serration, half straight blade right here. But you know what, with this one, usually they put a little bit more of the serration farther up and kind of do a half and half, but I do like how there is more cutting right here with the straight blade and a little smaller portion of the serration. But the serration on this is actually pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see that up close, but they did a pretty good job. It's pretty sharp down here, and it also has got a sawback up here. You know, usually with the sawbacks, I really wish the teeth were pointed kind of one way or the other. That way you get a good grab on whatever you're cutting. But with that sawback, if you can't really use it, if the serration is too fine, you can use that sawback up there and use it for whatever you need to do. Like I was saying with that trigger. So it's actually a pretty small trigger. I wish it was a little bit larger too. And if you can see how barely, it kind of just barely sticks out right there. You got a little nub right there. But pull that down and it kind of just pops out just like that. You're going to have to use those thumb studs right up here. You got your dual thumb studs right there or here to open that on up all the way. Oh, I got a tongue twister right there. But it is a black oxidized stainless steel blade as well as a drop point blade. And what I mean by a drop point is you're going to start your finger up here all the way on the top of the knife, which is called your spine. You're going to run it all the way down. You're going to have a real just gradual or slow slope on there. Real slow slope. So it's going to be real gradual. One more time. So compared to like a clip point, you're going to start up here and have a real sharp drop off, sharp kind of clip, I guess you could say. That's why I got the clip points. But usually with the drop points, they're actually going to have a less sharp point. But with this one, I'm actually getting that's decent compared to some of the other drop points that we've done before. Got a pretty good point on there. Working our way back, got your liner lock right there, right here. All you got to do is push that back to release that locking mechanism. Let's see what I got on the one hand, open and close. So use this right here, pretty easy. Actually, you know, with some of them, the placement on the thumb studs is kind of off sometimes, but with this one, it's perfect, especially for the size of my hands. Open it up, the thumb stud is right there, and you are good to go with that, which is nice. And let's see, we got a black aluminum handle right here, and I like how they kind of just made it super simple. You got some cutouts on the back right here. You can see all the way through the knife right there, and a little bit of grip right here on the top, as well as a thumb ramp right there. Got some ridges right there for extra grip. So it's got a real nice grip right there. I wish it would have extended out a little bit longer, especially with like my hands, they aren't super big. And there is a little bit of knife kind of hanging out, or a little bit of my hand still kind of missing right here. So I wish that would have came out just a bit. I can't imagine for a little bit of bigger guys, you know, grown men. It's going to be a little small in their hands, so I wouldn't recommend this for any super big guy unless you get to have something to have around the house, have around the shop, in the car. Something to have, just to have there, just in case you might need something to cut with. But this would be really good for you smaller guys, girls, ladies. Super, just, it's almost like a, you can stick this thing in your purse, stick the thing in your backpack, super concealed. One thing I'm already really liking about the knife, go ahead and show you this belt clip, is how far back this knife, or how far the belt clip is on the knife. There's going to be very little room right here sticking out. So it's going to be a real good concealed knife, you know, small, lightweight. I can already tell it's actually going to be pretty lightweight. But one thing I have noticed, we just opened this thing up actually just now, and there's a little bit of chipping in the paint on the handle as well as the top of the handle right here. I'll see if you guys can see that. But right there, you guys can see that white point right there. There is a little bit of chipping on this side, on the top of the blade, or the handle right there rather. So I'm not sure how that's going to hold up over time. You might just have to see. You know, it's probably not going to, especially if you really use this thing a lot, it's going to have a little bit of chips here and there. Not a real deal breaker for me, but you know, I wish they would kind of spend the time and use a little more quality paint job to get it to where it's going to have a real good finish on there and it's not going to chip out a bunch. Because I can already tell just being opened up out of the box, I can already see there's spots on here. I'm not sure if that happens during manufacturing or during shipping, but they could do a little bit better job on that. Kind of curious to see. We've never done a Smith & Wesson before, so I don't know if these things are sharp or not. I'm going to go ahead, see. Can't get any hairs. Alright. Does not seem to be like I'm getting very many hairs. So I'm not predicting a super sharp blade on here. But let's go ahead and test that out on some paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we're dealing with on this blade. Let's see, start right here at an angle. So once you get in there, it actually does a pretty decent job. Kind of impressed with that. Let's try that one more time. So we got this right here at an angle. Kind of difficult to get that catch. So yeah, there is quite a bit of ripping. One thing I am curious though is this point, because it was relatively sharp earlier. So I want to see on the cut down. Yeah, there definitely is going to be a little bit of catch, but it actually does a pretty good job. On the cut down, like I was saying guys, it's going to be some ripping, but that's not too bad. Nothing extra special. It is a little more difficult with these half serrations to get a good clean cut on there, but there was a little bit of ripping on the blade, on the straight part of the blade, which, you know what, it's going to happen with a bunch of knives. You're not going to have every single knife be razor sharp. You know, wish it could be like that, but this knife just isn't super sharp, but I'm sure you could run it through a sharpener, sharpen that top part of the blade up right here and give you a good, nice razor sharp knife. You know, some of them we get, and I mean, it's just absolutely insane. You can shave with them, it just goes right through that paper, but there is a little bit of ripping with this blade. Not a big deal, you know, just a cheap little knife. Got it off of Amazon actually. Like I was saying, it had pretty good reviews, so I went ahead and bought it. But for a cheap little Amazon knife, it's actually not too bad so far. One thing I am curious to check out though is this pocket clip and the concealability, because it is a really good size for an everyday carry, super small, super lightweight, and just really simple looking. I really like how it's got the simplicity look to it. You know, sometimes people try and, you know, just add too much to these knives and it's just too much and not real much of an eye pleaser. But this thing is just a super good looking knife. So let's go ahead and see what this thing feels like in the pocket. Alright, let's go ahead and slide this thing on in and see what we're dealing with. Slides in relatively easily, and I like that a lot, guys. Up here on the close-up, there's no knife sticking out right there. Got a kind of higher up shirt here, so you're gonna see a little bit of that belt clip right there. But if we're in a jacket, a lower bit of a shirt, you're gonna have a really good concealability. The print on this thing is really good. Not very much seen right there. You can see a little bit towards the end right here, but that's with all knives. Show you guys up here. It's really lightweight. Let's see if I can still stick my hands in my pocket, no big deal right there. Kind of tight, so it's a little bit better, but with jeans, or I mean with khakis or kind of other pants, it's gonna be a little bit better right there. But I'm really liking the way this knife slides in and out. And you got the trigger right here, which is good, and you're good to go. Okay, so as you can just see, it fits in there really nice. The concealability is really good on there. One thing I am curious though, it felt really lightweight in the pocket, almost as if it wasn't even there. So one thing I want to go do is get the scale, get the ruler, see what we're looking at on the measurements, and see what we're really looking at on this knife. Okay, so we got our scale here. Let's go ahead and throw this thing on there and see what we're dealing with. I guess it's gonna be pretty lightweight. 3.6 ounces. So that's actually relatively lightweight for the knife of this size. I'm guessing it's gonna be around 8 inches, so that's really good. Let's go ahead and see. Actually, it's probably a little less than 8. Let's go ahead and grab our ruler. Fully opened. We are dealing with, all right, 7 inches on the dot. So that's actually pretty good for a knife of this size to be 3.6 ounces. So I'm impressed by that. Let's see what the size of the blade is. So got about 1 inch of serration in total length. You got about 3 inches on the blade, not counting the choil down here. So you got about 2 inches of straight blade and 1 inch of serration right there. And all the way closed, we are looking at 4 inches. So that's actually really good. I like the size of this knife, you know, just a really good everyday carry. Let's go back and get into this review a little bit deeper. To be a 7-inch knife and to only be 3.5 ounces, that's actually really good, because you know with an 8-inch knife, your average is a little under 4 ounces. So to cut it down almost 1.5 ounces is really good. So like I was saying, guys, this is going to be your really good EDC. Really impressed with these Smith & Wesson so far. The only thing I wish with the blade was a little bit sharper, and that trigger was a spring assist, but that's on me because it was just an assist on there. It wasn't a spring assist. So that was on me, but it had really good reviews on there. I'll leave the link down below in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check this knife out and get it for your EDC. Would highly recommend it. I might even think about carrying this thing around because it's just a really cool quality knife. You know, Smith & Wesson does a really good job with their knives as well. The only thing really that I had a problem with their quality wise was a little bit of chipping here and there. Really only one major spot was right up here on that. I can show you that one more time. You know, it probably happens during manufacturing, you know, mass-produced knives. It's going to happen here and there. So I'm not sweating it too bad. But that's about it for the review, guys. If you guys want to get a chance to win a knife just like this every single Friday, we're doing a knife giveaway at around 5, 6 o'clock. We start live streaming, and you will have the chance to win a knife just like this every single Friday night. Super easy. You guys go ahead, check that out. And also, just got our social media set up. We got an Instagram, a Facebook page, and a Twitter, and we are following back the first 100 followers on Instagram and Twitter. So go ahead and check us out at Product Probes. Really appreciate it, guys. You know, kind of just spreading the word out, getting us out there. You know, building our way up to the top. It's a fun process, and we're glad you guys are here for it. But that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review, and don't forget to like and subscribe.